Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Big Boat Fishing with the Vibeke Catherine. A very lovely ship. We are going to take this boat out tonight and do some work, but first let's take a little bit of a tour. I wanted you to kind of see the different things that this boat has. First of all, we have a huge capacity for cargo, which is 20,000 kilograms of cargo. That is upgraded all the way. I believe she starts with 10, and then you upgrade it to 20 through a series of 3 upgrades. This boat is upgraded all the way. I've got everything that you can possibly load onto it on it, except for the top spotlight, because I never use the spotlights because they're worthless. But here we have some information. I've been fishing to pay this boat off. I've got the boat obviously purchased. I've got all of the upgrades done. I still owe 3.5 million krona on the boat for the loan. So I am going to pay that off. I have to pay it off before October 22nd. I think I'm going to make it because I make about 400,000 krona per fish load. So once I hit the cod quota, and you can see here my quotas, I'm more than halfway to the cod cutoff. But then the money will go down to probably 300 a load, 300,000 a load. But you know, I mean, whatever. It's making good money. This boat will be paid off. Actually, probably in the next 2 or 3 hauls, I'll be able to pay that loan off, and the boat's mine. The other good news is I'll be able to start saving for the lunar bow, because watch this. I thought this was kind of funny. Back out. One of the cool things that this boat has is side thrust. You can thrust this boat from side to side like a big boat, because it is a very big boat. You can see here as we... Oh! Look at that. I can now buy the lunar bow. However, I can't really afford it. But there it is. I have a skipper certificate for the pelagic trawler, which is the lunar bow. We'll start moving forward here and turn off the side thruster. By pressing X twice, you center all of your thrust. This is a very funny looking boat. This basically looks like the whatever the big one is, the Hermes, but then they cut it in half and then just weld this back piece on. It's like the front half of the Hermes. We've moved up to a much more luxurious life. One of the things about this boat that is really unique is that it has a 3-man crew. So now I have Karen Hamilton as my cook. She also does net hauling. I've got Rudy. He does he's really good at operating the machine gutter. So as these two pull the net in, he guts the fish as they come in, and then once they're done doing the pulls, I have these two guys stack the crates. When Karen runs out of energy, I pop Rudy over into her slot and he finishes it up. And of course, as always, George Merland is a monster. The guy is just unstoppable, and he just does all the work that I ask of him and never gets tired until the task is through, because he's so strong. So meanwhile, let's take a little tour of the boat while we're going out. Now there was an update to this game as I loaded to do this tutorial. So some things may have changed from what I'm telling you, but I am not sure if that's the case or not. So I'm going to jump out of the boat here. Let's see if I go to V, and I press the F key. Oh, well, first things first, let's take a look here. One of the nice things about this boat is that, first of all, we have a commanding view. Unfortunately, the work lights, I think, are what my problem is. The work lights do reflect on the windows. That's just bad programming. It should not do that. You should see the beams, but it shouldn't reflect on the windows so that you can't see. Go see what they want, John. As you can see here, I have both a nice big map so I can see where I'm going, and I also have a big radar screen over to the right here, sonar, so that I can see the fish underneath the boat. Fully upgraded, this boat is not very fast. In fact, the top speed is right about here, just under 15 knots. I have seen it go as high as like 14 knots before, but it's slow. However, the great thing about the Vibeke Catherine is that with the radar upgraded all the way, it has a huge viewing swath. In fact, I can't wait to get to the lunar bow to see how much more of the sea I can unlock, because this boat really just has a huge amount of radar distance, and I don't want to walk around the boat yet until I get through this pass. I don't want to have an accident, so we're going to wait till we get through this area here, and then we'll start taking a tour of the ship. So hold on 1 second, folks. All right, so we've cleared the strait. I've had a little conference with my daughter because she's not listening, and so let's go ahead and turn the lights on for the interior and for work lights, and we'll go ahead and take a look at this boat. Ship, I guess it'd be a ship at this point. We're pretty freaking big. So there's the cabin, and if we walk down here, we have a nice resting area for ourselves. We can take naps. And it seems like the crew doesn't come up here, so we have the upper deck to ourselves. We can't get up. I wish you could climb up here on top of the boat, but they don't let you up here on the radar area. There's a ladder, but there's no trigger to get up there. So once again, one of my favorite positions on the boats up front, on the bow. Like the Titanic, I'm spreading my arms out. Look, I'm flying. God. Anyway, so hopefully, unlike the Titanic, we are not going to sink. I've been through some pretty rough seas in this boat. It does not handle them too well. It rocks like crazy. It's pretty sickening. You'll see it in some of the video here, like as I release videos from playing this boat. You'll see that, but in this tutorial, it looks like we got calm seas today for the tutorial. So I'm going to go ahead and putz downstairs. To get down to the lower deck, we come over here. The thing I don't like about this boat is when the workers are working, you don't really see them. Sometimes the cook comes back here. This is the grill. They cook on that. These are storage areas. I think the fish are stored back in here. Obviously, here's the line puller. You can pull line down here, but I just have the crew do it. That way I don't damage the nets. And this is the automatic gutting machine. It's so fast. Now, you can't hand gut when you have the automatic gutter. This is where the fish go when they're fresh. I'm thinking the frozen fish go back here. I don't really know where the freezer is, and I think the crew lives in there. So we'll leave them be and let them have their space. But this is the Vibeke Catherine. It's pretty cool. Big boat. Kind of fun to walk around the boat. You like it, John? So let's get back in where the captain's supposed to be. In the captain's chair. Just call me Lars or Sig. Or Stig. Sig? Was it Sig? I think it was Sig. The Deadliest Catch. All right. You can see here we're actually picking up fish right now on our radar. This is a fishing area. If I look on the map, look at all species. Boop. Hey, you know what? We could actually fish there. How about cod, though? Oh, wow. It's on fire. I drove right past it. So let's place a waypoint right there, and we're going to... Actually, I'm going to place it... Scoot it back a little bit. We're going to start right there. There we go. And I'm going to lay out both of my lines. So let's go ahead and get into the boat. Go to the outside view, and there she is. Where am I headed? Get my head straight across. We're going to let it go a little bit further because I want to get into the hot spot here. And as you guys know, we've seen this before, but it's the same idea. We have the little tick that we have to keep in the middle. If it goes to the right, we have to press to the left to keep it centered. That's probably good enough. So let's go ahead and drop line. Here goes the first line. I have a 165 meter net that I'm going to drop. And then we're going to come back on the other side and drop the 120 meter net. And that's as much as this boat can handle. With these two nets combined, the boat's always full. Now you can see this one's a little harder. The Vibeke tends to sway back and forth a lot in the waves, and you're constantly fighting. I have lost a couple nets in practice. Like when I first tried to use this boat, I had a really hard time, and I was also in really rough seas. So I mean that was part of it. But this boat's a little squirrely when it comes to laying the lines out. Or laying the nets out. It might be easier to do line fishing. This boat does not do trawling. That is the next level up. So with the lunar bow, we should be able to do some trawling. But I'm not going to buy the lunar bow for a while. Probably once we get close to full quota on this boat. You know, I might even go back and fill up the Yarkin and the other fishing boat, because we have until February for the cod to be quote unquote hot. So I might even take some crowns and finish upgrading the little boat, the Borga or whatever. And you know, the downside is when you go to the Borga, you have to fire your crew. You can rehire them later, but you got to pay that. You got to pay the hiring fees again. So I'm kind of a cheapskate. I want to keep the crew as long as possible. So as you downgrade boats, you want to go to the next smallest boat, not jump all the way down to the actual smallest boat. Let's go ahead and set this net. And there we go. So we set the line. Like I said, you guys have seen all this before, but you haven't seen it on this huge boat. Ah, there we go. Line is set. And now it's just a matter of waiting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and, since we're so close to port, we're just going to go back into the port. Let's keep an eye on our time here. I'm going to go into the map, and I'm going to plot our way back here. Now, the nice thing is with the crew, as soon as they're done pulling the nets, I can put the nets back out again because the crew will not damage the nets. They're awesome. Come on. No, I want. Oh, I see. I'm going to get through there without crashing my Vibeke. And she's back. It took about an hour. Let's see, we got an hour on those nets. Yep, it took just about an hour to get back, so we've got about a 17-hour wait here. So we're going to go ahead and pull into port. I'm doing fine on fuel. I don't need to fill up. I was actually filling up. I'll show you the map. I was fishing way out here in this hot spot and like over here. Takes some time to get in and out, so sometimes I'd just go out there and let the boat sit, you know. But one thing I wish the developers do, I really wish they would put a fast forward time on the boat, and maybe they have with this patch. I'll have to check, but I doubt it. But I really hope they do, because it's really irritating they have to keep coming back into harbor. It's a big waste of resources to have to come back in, but it's a big waste. It's a big waste of actual time having to wait for it. So that's a little frustrating. So let's go ahead and jump 17 hours. Might as well jump. Skip. And we're going to undock. I know, my nets are at sea. And we're going to slide the Vibeke out. We know how to do this because we've done it a million times. Once I'm away from the dock, love that sound of that boat. Try not to smack the arse on the dock. Go. We got the centering turned back to normal, and the boat is now sailing straight instead of, what do you call it, like fish legging, crawling, crab legging. All right, so let's go ahead and get the boat back out there to our destination. You guys have seen this before. We're going to just plot ourselves out there without killing the boat. Put myself right about there. There we go. Whoop! And the lines are both blue, ready for collection. Perfect timing on my part. I am a master of planning. We're going to swing to the right. This time we're going to pick the line up. I'm going to start with this left line and go straight across, pick up the other one. And then as our guys are working on the boat, on the catch, we will what would we do? We'll do something. We'll relay the lines is what I was going to say. So be aware once again, I have a super good crew because I've been fishing with these guys. Obviously, I've met half of the quotas on the ship for almost everything. So we've had some serious fishing experience. And so with that said, my crew is really good. They can finish everything in one turn. Sometimes, though, if your crew needs to rest and you only get halfway done, it's okay. You let them do it halfway, and then stop the boat, wait for a couple hours. You can either wait in dock or actually sit on the boat and wait for them to recover, and then set them back at their tasks again. But now that my crew is a super crew, they get pretty much everything done with one pass. So let's go ahead and I'm going to put her on the line, and I'm going to put him on the line. And he's going to go on the machine gutter, and he's just going to wait there. So these two are hauling the net. Now, if your nets are far apart, once they're done hauling the net, I would put those two guys that are pulling the nets, the Karen and George, I'd put them back and let them rest again until you get to the next net. Now, I'm not going to do that in this case because that next net is like 10 feet ahead of me there, at about 100 yards ahead or less. That second net is laid out. So those guys, I'm going to keep them at their post because they're hauling that net. But what you'll notice is the net just goes back into my inventory, so I can drop it again. And so it's nice because then you only need two nets, and I can just drop them, leave, go home, come back, drop them again. This boat also holds a lot more fuel, but be aware that filling this boat up all the way can cost you upwards of 100,000 krona or more. So there, they've done their haul. The boat's, you can see how full it is. We're about 2/3 full. I could probably even use a shorter net for that second net. And you can see here, this guy's 600 fish an hour. That is just phenomenal. So Vibeke is moving on. So this boat is upgraded all the way once again. We got the freezer. Now, what I found out about the freezer is you don't get paid anymore. The whole point of the freezer is if you're freezing way out at sea, and if you're fishing way out at sea and it's going to take you more than 8 days to get to a port, you freeze the fish. Or maybe if you have a boat big enough, you know, this boat could be big enough that you're fishing for weeks on end, you could freeze the fish and then turn them in. But you don't get any more money for frozen fish. So I don't bother freezing them anymore because I go in every day to turn my catch in. So every day I'm bringing in a catch. There's no need to do that, you know. So now we are stopped and they are pulling that second line. Meanwhile, what's his face is cutting the heck out of he's gutting the heck out of the fish on the machine gutter. And we are just waiting while they pull that line. And once they're done pulling the line, I'm going to throw them on stacking because that's what needs to be done. So, and we don't bother, like I said, we don't bother freezing. It's not necessary. If they would pay more for frozen fish, like pre-frozen fish, because that's what they end up doing anyway, I would do the freezing because it's like an extra step. Now, if you want to grind your crew and get them upgraded as far as their abilities, well, maybe that would be a way to do it. You could probably do it that way, but I don't know. Personally, I don't think it's worth the hassle. They get enough experience anyway doing this. When I first picked up Karen, she only had one little dot of health, and look how healthy she is already. She's getting to be stronger and stronger every day. Storage is full. They're done pulling the line. So we have 20,000 liters of fish almost, or kilograms, I'm sorry. And so we're going to put these two on stacking. And meantime, that guy's going to cut, they're going to stack, and we are going to take a look where we're at. And the fishing is still hot here, so I'm going to go ahead and lay my lines back out again and make some more money. So and that's the pattern. So basically I lay the lines, go into port, sell the fish, come back out, lay more lines, you know, pick the lines up, put them back out. And we keep doing that till the spot's no longer a hot spot. When the hot spot dies down, we'll move on somewhere else, but right now fishing is super hot right here. I have noticed that if you save your game and come back, sometimes that will trigger a hot spot. So it's kind of random. The spots are almost always in the same place though, I found that much. Though Micah said his map is very different, so. You can see here on our fish, the different type. The green shows our stacked fish. The yellow shows our gutted fish. And the red shows our fresh fish. And slowly we're converting them from fresh fish to gutted fish to stacked fish. One of the nice things I like about the Vibeke Catherine is that the people work downstairs. They don't have to be out in the elements, and you can see somebody's working right there. They work from the comfort of inside the ship, so being in this hostile climate, though it's pretty warm right now because it's still September, but being in this cold climate, wet, rainy, yucky, my crew is actually fairly happy because they're not out on this freezing deck, so they probably like working on this ship, I would imagine. John. Let's see where we're at. Are you in the circle yet? No, still need to go a little bit further before we're in that hot spot. So as you can see here, from the first tutorial to the third tutorial, our fishing has changed quite a bit. What we do, how we do it. We don't have to be quite so precise anymore. It's a little bit easier because they do it for us. We basically just have to make sure the boat gets out there and gets the nets laid, and we make sure the crew is taken care of and healthy. Those are the main things that we have to worry about. So it's pretty nice now. So the bigger the boat, the easier it gets for the captain. But it also gives us the opportunity once it meets its quota to go back down and work those smaller boats and really pull in as much money as we possibly can. I don't know how we're going to do. Hopefully we get enough to earn the lunar bow, but I know the prices are astronomical on those last two boats. So, and they're, of course, they're monster huge boats. I think the price on this guy was actually kind of fair, though. I did hear talk that they've changed some of the pricing in this last patch. I don't know And I can't get to, I'm not near Hammerfest right now to check out the pricing, so I don't know for a fact if that's the case or not, but we'll talk. And so, anyway, my kids are busting in my room, so hang on a second, folks. So you can see here, here's the process, right? So I'm laying the nets back out. Meanwhile, my crew is hard at work, stacking and gutting, and that's great. And let's see, Phoenix is calling. Let's get turned around here. This takes a really long time to turn. Come on, boaty boat. Oh yeah, he just leveled up. That means is he still 600 an hour? It does go higher than that. I think George is like 900 an hour or something like that. George is the man. Don't head towards the other line. Come on, turn this way. Let's see how we're doing. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go north a little bit. Try to head into that hot spot a little bit more. Yep, keep going. You can also notice how slow the boat goes. However, I will say this. Full load, this boat actually suffers less from a full load than the other smaller two boats do. So while both the Jarkin and the Borga, I think it says pronounced, while both of those boats get hit pretty heavily from a full load, this boat actually only slows down a little bit because it's so much larger. So having a full hull doesn't really slow the boat down too much because we're dealing with a much bigger engine instead of like 12 horsepower. It's we're in the hundreds of horsepower at this point. So really enjoying this game though. Really enjoying this game. I'm really enjoying this game. It's quite relaxing. And as you get more proficient at it, it just becomes more and more fun. I'm loving the fact that I'm telling you what, after this load, we're going to go in. And I want to keep you here just till the end of this run because I want to show you how much money we make with the boat. But then I also want to show you how to pay off a loan. So I still have a loan open from this guy. Let's get turned into to the south here and start heading back towards Safe Harbor, towards Forsel, here on the northern Norwegian coastline. I wonder if I've been to Forsel in my truck sim game. I think it wasn't. It was like Kevan or something like that. Kevin. And the island that was north of there was the island of Svard or something like that. I don't know. It has the city of Longyearbyen on it. Somebody will correct me because I have a lot of people that are from this region that watch my channel that will. Frode and Thundercat and some of these other guys that are from Europe and from the European Peninsula. I will say, one of the things I did last night, which was hilarious while these guys are working, I want to let them work and I keep an eye on them. It's like she's getting tired. He's doing fine, and of course, George is a machine. I just sailed all the way back from like mid-ocean. You could see these mountains, but they were off in the distance like a little, almost like an island. And I was just getting closer and closer, and I sailed all the way in. Like I spent an hour, probably 20 minutes, bringing the boat in from out in open seas. And it was really cool. It felt like, because like I said, I've done a lot. Being from an area where there's a big lake, people hear Lake Erie and they're like, well, lake? It's not what you think of a lake. It's basically an inland sea. 50 miles across and several hundred miles from side to side. You can't see land anywhere out there until you go a long distance. So you have to go more than halfway across the lake before you start seeing Canada. So anyway, it's a big lake. I've spent a lot of time on ferry boats and speedboats and sailboats and there's a bunch of really cool cheap excursion boats in Cleveland. So like the Good Time, I think it's the Good Time 3 now. There's a bunch of deer in oh my gosh, there's like 7 deer in my backyard. Anyway, I've done it all, and this game really does do a decent job. It's not super, but it's pretty good. In fact, let's head out there now. This is kind of a cool view here as we come through the pass. It feels like you're on a boat. Like I've walked around on boats before, like this size, and hopefully I'm not going to hit that pier. It just has this smooth, now there's a little bit more up and down motion when you're in the open water, and that happens on this game. But this the way the water looks, it really looks like this when you're on a ferry boat and stuff. And when it smooths out, it's real smooth like this too. It's like riding on glass. This is super smooth right here. What a great game. Okay, so anyway, I'm getting off tutorial here. So let's go back out. We'll get into port here. Boop, boop, boop. So are you guys feeling like you know the game a little bit better because of these tutorials? I'm hoping that these were a big help for you. Once again, the 4th tutorial I've unlocked the lunar bow, but I don't own it yet. So I'm going to have to do some grinding before I get to the lunar bow and get it out into the ocean. So, but I'm hoping this will keep you busy for the next couple days, and as you grow your boat, grow your boat. I'm stopping. So right now, before I go into the port, I need to actually wait. So I'm gonna push off here a little bit, turn my side thruster on, and just kind of float away from the dock to keep it open for any other boats that will come in. We'll go out into the middle and sit out there, because I gotta wait right now until my crew is done doing their thing. You can see here, these guys are still stacking, and he's still cutting. And Karen's about to pass out. Why is he idle? That's interesting. He should be finishing gutting. Karen can go sit. Oh, the gutting's done. Duh. All right, so Karen's taking a rest now. I know that. I knew that. And this is yellow because there's still some gutted left, and we got a little bit left to stack. But I'm gonna hang here until these guys are done doing their job. So maybe in about 5 minutes they'll be ready to go into port. Maybe game-wise an hour. So I'm gonna let this boat sit. I'm turning the engines off, and we're just gonna hold here and wait until they're done doing their job, and we'll come back and sell the stuff off, and then we'll pay off our loan, and that'll be the end of the tutorial. I'll be right back. All right, George and Rudy have finished their jobs. You see they're both idle right now. George is a little tired, but he worked his butt off. Let's go ahead and get these fish into port. Supposedly you have to do the you have to stack these because there's so many fish. You have to stack them to sell them. So let's go ahead and jump out real quick and see if we can actually see where the stacked fish went. It'll take us a while to get into port. So not here. Not there. They must be stored. I don't know where they put the packed fish, but it's not animated. So anyway, whatever. Putt, 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 putt. Doesn't it look just like the front of a ship, though? It's like missing the back half. Look how far down in the water we are, though. Isn't that crazy? Like, that's that full load. I think once they're stacked, I mean, it's made it even more so. That's a little bit front heavy. Once that stuff comes out, the boat will pop back up again. But well, the fish are over the front there. But that's where the crew live too. They don't have any windows or anything. It's kind of cruddy. While I live in this lap of luxury up here with my couch and my table and my television. But I've also worked the sea for several months, so I deserve all the luxury. Alright, we start rolling forward a little bit, get up into the port a little faster. Let's get our bow in. There we go, there's a little symbol. So we are at Forcel. You can see here quite the nice hull. Now this gives you a range. Oh, I see. It's weird because it gives you a range of krona. I don't know why it doesn't give you an exact amount, but it doesn't ever end up being the full amount. It's like roughly 400. Wow, that was a big take actually. 452,495. 452,495 krona. That's my ship, John. What's the what? This right here? I don't know, it's like a no fishing mark. Wow, they really docked me in a strange, odd way. Well, I was way past the dock, that's why. It's a little goofy. Yeah, John. I can't buy a new ship now because I don't have enough money. But I got enough money to pay this one off. So let's go ahead to the bank. So we're going to click on the town. And I'm going to go to the bankers. And I'm going to say repay. So I've got this loan that I've got out. I haven't even paid a single payment yet, but boom, say goodbye. So I've only got 350,000 krona left, but my boat is completely paid off. So now it's a matter of grinding to the next amount of money that I can pull in with all 3 of the boats that I own, so that I can eventually own the lunar bow. Because if I remember right, the lunar bow is quite expensive. In fact, before we take off, let's take a look at that, and then we'll call it good night. So this is one of those games where there's definitely a gap. I mean, look at this. Look at the pricing on this boat. We go from a ship that's 1.9 million krona to a boat that's 14.9 million krona. There's no in between. Like, oh, you could go to this boat or whatever. You just get this monster boat. I mean, this is insane. It's huge. It's got a giant fuel tank, obviously. It's a trawler, so it's a different type of boat. I'm not sure what that bazooka on the side is, that big silver bazooka. Probably some kind of radar net hull thing. Who knows? I've got a certificate for it, though. It's got 8,000 horsepower engine. That's a faster boat. 19 knots is the fastest published speed, but I bet you this boat's faster than that with the upgraded engine. 7-man crew, 227 feet. So this is what we're looking at for our next boat, the lunar boat. It's going to be a long time probably before I can afford that. I probably still will have to take out a loan to buy it, but by that time we're going to be sailing. Hermes! There's the big boat. This one's like a cruise ship right here. This is freaking great. Yeah, I guess it kind of looks like the Vibeke, but not. When you see it in person, it's actually like, 30 times the size of the Vibeke. So, yeah, once again. Now, this was actually not that much more expensive than the lunar bow. Once again, it's a trawler. This one you're going to take out away. They actually have that trawling fishing ground. If I remember, I showed you on the map. Turn this off. They have a trawling fishing ground up here. This is open water. And so this is where you're going to take those big boats, most likely to go fishing. Though they can go all over the place, but you're not going to fish in the bays with these things. Those things, you're going to go out. So, anyway, it's pretty cool stuff. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I think it was fun to see the different ships, and I'm glad. The Vibeke is great. I've been having a lot of fun with this boat. I got a ways to go with it though now, but at least you guys got a chance to see it in operation, kind of figure out how the crew works, and see some of the different things. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below, and I'll try my best to get back to you. Thumbs up always help. Be sure to subscribe. If you really like what you see and you want to support my channel, you can always click on my name. You'll see a picture of a forest harvester at the top of my homepage. There's a little button there that says Support Arthur. You can click on that button and make donations that way. And that goes right to me and my recording equipment. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I am really having fun with this game, and I just wanted to see if I could maybe help some people out. Anyway. Have a great night, and we will see you next time on the high seas of the Barents Sea.